Hey everyone, my name is Kari. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I am starting this, I want to say a series of YouTube videos where I'm actually providing monthly readings for all of the signs of the zodiac. I want to introduce myself very briefly. So, I'm Kari. I'm a Sagittarius. Whoop, whoop. And I kind of just wanted to introduce my cards as well, because I find that when I am looking at the readings of other YouTubers that maybe it's because I'm a reader, but I always want to know what kind of cards they're using. So I just wanted to introduce, my crew, because that's basically who they are. This is my Tarot Illuminati deck. This is probably my go-to deck. It's my favorite. You'll probably see me using it on a regular basis. I think that the images are just beautiful. They're sharp. I really feel like I connect with this deck. This deck has never let me down, so that's what makes it my go-to. I use it as a clarification deck for many of my other cards as well. I'm going to move on and show this one. This is the Wheel of the Year Tarot. Now, I caught myself by surprise when I like this deck, because I consider it to be really cartoonish. You look at the characters, but there's just something about the background that gives more storyline than any of the cards I've ever had before. So I don't know, I kind of fell in love with this deck. I feel like it really tells the story in a different way. And I can appreciate how it is that some of the meanings are very different from the traditional Rider-Waite deck as well. This is the Morgan Greer Tarot deck, and this was actually my very first tarot deck, which I do not advise for beginners. If you are a beginner in tarot, do not start with this deck, because you'll be missing so much information. A lot of tarot is not just about what the cards mean, but about what the feelings are that are being conveyed in the images that you see. And with this deck, most of the imagery is zoomed in. So, you don't really get to see what's going on in the background. Whereas with the traditional Rider-Waite deck, you really get to scope out the entire scene. But I use these cards for clarification as well, because, I already understand general meanings and what it is that's trying to be conveyed in the pictures. So, it's pretty good for clarification for me. I like to use a lot of different cards for clarification. This is my Angel Tarot cards, and I use these cards as base cards for my readings. So I'll use the Tarot Illuminati to clarify this deck, but I really like this deck. I like the imagery that's in it. There are lots of horses and bugs and fairies, and there are a lot of natural elements to this deck, and that's what makes me love them so much. And clearly, there are angels here and there, as there are in regular tarot decks as well. I also have the Romance Angel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtual. I know how much people love this deck when it comes to love readings. But this deck, me and this deck, we have a love-hate relationship. Sometimes it loves me, sometimes it hates me. I mean, sometimes, we need some time apart. So I want to say that this deck and I connect maybe once every 2 to 3 months. And I'm sure that's an internal thing for me, but even with this deck, I provide clarification, because I do believe that angel cards they're probably the best when it comes to any kind of oracle readings, like things that make no sense to me when I use oracle cards out of nowhere. A month later, it's like, that's what you meant. I got it. Eureka. So and then here are the daily guidance cards. So I use these cards for additional guidance on readings, especially for readings that are a little hard for people to swallow. Now, I want everybody to remember that readings are really for entertainment purposes. That's the way that everyone is supposed to provide a disclaimer for. But I do believe that they're amazing at providing guidance for what the current energy is in your life, because we all have free will. We can change any and everything we want at the drop of a dime. We can change anything and everything we want at just a minor thought. So, we are constantly in control of our futures. Things don't have to happen a certain way. No one is doomed to any potential future. I think that these cards allow us, just a glimpse into what it is that can be based on what our current energies are, based on what the current circumstances around us are. And there are just some things that are completely out of your control. things that God will set in motion, things that surprise you consistently. So these are my decks. These are my cards. Now, I am very expressive with my hands. And I always said to myself that if hands could dance, that my hands would b-boy, because my fingers are constantly moving. And in person, I speak with my hands anyway. So this mode of communication isn't very different. I feel like it's easier, it's better to focus on the cards as opposed to doing a full reading where I'm staring at you and I'm watching what's going on. But I do readings in person for people, so it's not a matter of me being afraid. It's really a matter of where it is I feel the focus needs to be. Because in addition to you receiving what it is your messages are supposed to be, I think that there's no harm in you actually learning what the meanings to the cards are, whether you find yourself to be intuitive or not. I don't think that it hurts to know exactly what it is that you're looking at. Different readers will read in different ways. The message that a card conveys to one reader may not mean the same thing to another reader. It doesn't necessarily mean that either reader is wrong, but these cards are about what the personal perception is of the reader. So, and also remember that different decks actually portray different stories for the same exact card. So the Six of Cups in one deck can be very different from the Six of Cups in another deck. And it doesn't mean that the meaning is no longer there. It's just that the creator of the cards, they've chosen to display those feelings or depict them in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to get started on these readings in a few minutes, actually. My setup is already here. You'll find that you'll see crystals and things like that on the table. I use them for focus and charging. I also have some candles here, as well as the incense burning in the background. So if you see smoke floating around in the camera area, it's not because anything is on fire. It really is just smoke. And I use it for meditative purposes. Every once in a while, you'll also see a cup of tea lying around, but that's something that's usual. And it's nothing to be alarmed about, okay? So I look forward to starting and continuing this journey with any and all of you who would like to continue on this channel. I am very, very, very grateful for any subscriptions, likes, and shares that you guys may have in my regards. Thank you so much.